Hi there, welcome back to another episode of my knitting podcast. I'm Iris, I'm the designer behind hirismakes, and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to take a look at what's in all of my project bags. Some of them I know what's in them, others I haven't opened in a while, so it might be a surprise for me as well. Tell you a bit about the projects in each one, about the yarn, how I'm feeling about that project, and that's the plan. I also have a few little bits and bobs, little accessories that I bought this week that I want to show you as well. Okay, so let's get started. So the first project bag is this one. This is a really cute little flowery project bag. This is one of the ones I sewed myself. I went through a bit of a phase, when was it, maybe like 2 years ago, making loads of little project bags when I got a new sewing machine, and I wasn't good at sewing anything other than project bags. I thought it was a good way to kind of get more practice. Anyway, so it's really sweet. It's got this floral design, but I couldn't be bothered to cut the fabric properly, so it's upside down on one side. No one knows, right? Apart from now all of you. Anyway, and on the front I've got a load of little knitting pins that I seem to have accumulated from all sorts of places. Okay, so let's see what's inside. So this one I know what's inside because I've been working on it exclusively basically over the last 2 weeks. So this has this lovely yarn in here, which is a Sunday, which I showed you last week or 2 weeks ago in my sustainable stash. And I remember I was quite surprised like how sustainable or how much Sundays actually care about the sustainability of the yarns. So I bought this from Knit Yarns. It's 100% merino wool, and it's got like a very nice dense spin. You can see that there, hopefully. Yeah, and it's a really cool colour. The colour, I can't remember the name, but it's 4025. Anyway, so this is my Sundial summer top. And like I said, I've been working on it basically obsessively over the last 2 weeks or so since I cast it on, if that, week and a half probably. And if you watched to the end of the last video, you would have seen that I talked a little bit about the Sundial sweater. I was also wearing it in that video, and it's a top-down circular yoke, and it has this kind of rib detail. And it was suggested to me that this would be really cute as well in a summer version or a short sleeve version, and I couldn't agree more, so I cast that on straight away, and here it is. So it has a cute little ribbing detail. I'm going to make the sleeves about, not cap sleeves, but like a little bit longer than short sleeve. I don't know if that makes sense, but with a decent amount of ribbing. So it is knit in the Sunday, which I believe is quite a light 4-ply or fingering. It is 235 meters per 50 grams. So yeah, goes quite far. And actually I've only just finished the second ball of yarn. So I'm knitting this with a bit of negative ease, so it goes pretty quickly actually because it's not that big. So I think I'll easily get this done with just 3 balls of yarn, so 150 grams, which would be great. I am knitting it on 3mm needles, but I actually lost or misplaced my long ones, so I'm knitting them on the short. I'm knitting the entire thing on the short tips, which has been kind of painful actually. Knitting on short tips the whole time. So that actually brings me onto some of the purchases I made, which I'll talk about a bit later, which is loads more 3mm needles. Yeah, I'm really happy with how this is going. I'll be putting a testing call out in a few days, and I'll put the link in the comments as well. And yeah, hopefully it'll be out end of June or something like that. So that's the Sundial summer top. Okay, next up, need some organisation here. So next up is, let's go for another bag that I sewed around the same time. This one I think I made with some interfacing, so it's kind of stiff. and then I became too lazy after that. Anyway, so this is another little cotton bag. This has another really cute knitting pin on it that like twists from like day to night. I don't know, it's cute. So this one contains a project that I have been knitting for over a year, or at least about a year. And this is a cardigan that I've been designing. And it is top down. It's got like a sort of V-neck or gradual increased neck. It has integrated ribbing, and it has this really textured stitch all the way across it. So you can see that there in the light. So it's really, really pretty, but as you can already tell, it's on very small needles. I think it's on 3.25 needles. So it's been going really, really slowly. But loads of people have asked me about this because I posted about it probably over a year ago, and so many people said, "Oh, are you ever bringing that out?" Well, yeah, maybe at some point if I ever finish it. But you can see I did make quite a lot of progress actually recently on it. It's a good kind of just knitting when I can't bother to concentrate a lot. I think I will do a sort of fitted sleeve actually. Originally the idea was to have a kind of a balloon sleeve on this, and also to have buttons. But so actually one of the reasons this has been languishing for so long is that I wasn't really sure where to go with it, because at some point I realised that I'd forgotten to put buttonholes in the ribbing, and then I thought, okay, well I could probably do like an afterthought hole, you know, where you cut it, buttonhole, and then I thought that would look a bit messy, and I wasn't really sure where to place the buttons, how many buttons to put on, how long the cardigan would be, all sorts of things. So I really was just really unsure about what this was going to become. So then that just meant I kind of left it on the side a bit. So I was recently knitting on this when Nina was in Cambridge, so I met up with her and Sophie and we were having a coffee, and I was knitting on this and I was explaining to them like, oh, you know, I don't know, I forgot to put the buttonholes in, etc. And they suggested why not just use the poppy buttons, like magnetic or a pop button. So yeah, I think that's what I'll do. So that kind of gave me a bit of renewed interest in this project. So I started knitting on it a little bit more. And yeah, I think I'm also going to do like a tapered, decreased sleeve. I'm not sure about the length. My other thought was to make it buttonless and do quite a long cardigan with like a tie wrap thing. So we'll see how that goes. But I really, really love how it's looking and how soft it is. So this is actually the yarn for this is yarn I've had obviously for a long time. Is actually a We Are Knitters yarn. It is their Finita yarn, which is a single ply merino alpaca blend, I believe. Yeah, so maybe you can see here in the end of the yarn that it's quite thin, but as you block it and you use it, it does poof out because it's a single ply, and it's non-superwash. So it does actually still feel fluffy and everything. So it's a really lovely yarn. I mean, I've been over the whole We Are Knitters Zara thing. We're not going to go into that now. But, you know, I do have some of this in my stash, and I'm already this much through a design. So on 3.25mm needles. So given how long this has already taken me, I don't really want to start again with another yarn. So I am going to persevere with this one. Because I do think it's a really lovely yarn. It's non-superwash. The yarn in of itself I don't think is unsustainable as such, or not any worse than any other brands. It's just the whole, you know, politics of how they handled that situation that isn't great. So I won't be buying in the future, at least not until things change. But I still have this yarn. I like it, and I really love this design. So I'm trying to not let that get me too down on this one. If you have any thoughts for names for this cardigan, I'm all ears. Don't have any ideas just yet, but I think it'll be really nice, easy to wear one. Okay, oh, and when will there be a test knit? Who knows, maybe this time next year. But this is my go-to project whenever I am feeling a bit disheartened by all my other projects. I just go back to this one and I do a few rows, or I take it if I'm going for a coffee, or, you know, just a bit of mindless knitting. So at some point I hope this one will actually get finished. Okay, so that's that one. And then we're staying with this size project bags, and another one that I sewed myself. Can you tell I like get quite into something? Yeah, I mean, I am making a knitting podcast, so it's probably not super surprising that I get really into things. But yeah, I got really into sewing project bags. Which means now, because I have so many project bags, I think it's acceptable to have loads of whips to fill the project bags. And I've got 6 out here, but I probably have like another 7 or 8 empty project bags. So yeah, whoops. Okay, so in this project bag, which actually has a cute like spotty lining, I don't know. I have this yellow number. So this is another cardigan I started quite a long time ago. Yeah, so this is a circular kind of yoke cardigan with like a high neck or round neck. It has an integrated button band as well, just in a garter stitch. Again, I forgot to make the top buttonhole, so I'm going to have to do that retrospectively, but I think that's okay for one. But here I did remember to put it in the rest of the button band. So at the moment this is looking really quite sort of plain, right? Doesn't look like anything exciting, but this is going to have kind of tight sleeves or tapered sleeves, like a bit like this. And be, I don't know if it's going to be cropped or like not too long, like a sort of short, tight-fitting cardigan. It actually looks really cute on. I need to take some little shots of like the whip on, because it's like the fit is actually really good, surprising. I mean, it was meant to be good, but it fits how I wanted it to. So anyway, it looks quite kind of boring at the moment, but my idea for this came in 2019, I think, so quite a long time ago. So in 2019 Christmas, I made a advent calendar pattern. So this is the advent wrap. I made it in the Hook and Light advent calendar at the time, and it's basically knit in like 2 big like squares that you then seam together down the back and under the arms. So it's kind of like a beachy wrap thing, and it's really cute. I mean, I really like it. I was very happy with that pattern, because there are so many advent patterns that are shawls, and I'm not really a shawl knitter, to be honest. I've done a few, but it's just not really my thing, so I wanted something that was actually wearable out of an advent calendar, which doesn't come along very often. But anyway, part of the design was that it's mainly garter stitch, because it's such a big project, all in 4-ply, fingering it on, that I wanted it to be fairly easy to do. And I'm thinking that over the Christmas period there's a lot going on, you don't want something too intense. So it's a lot of garter stitch, slip stitch, but it has these kind of vertical lines, so that the colours go vertical, of this flower stitch. Yeah, so each of these flower stitch rows takes like an hour to knit. So that's probably not a mindless knitting task, but they're quite fun and they look really beautiful. So I'd finished that and I thought, oh, this would be really nice if it was just a very, very plain cardigan and you just had that flower stitch horizontal just above the ribbing. So you had a plain cardigan and then 1 row of the flower stitch and then the ribbing, and possibly also on the arms, right, just above the ribbing. So I cast this on, I know it didn't even cast it on in 2020, I cast it on last year. I think I was thinking about it for ages, never really got round to it. And then I decided to go for it. and I cast this on. And yeah, still haven't got to the flower stitch. Maybe I've been putting off because I know that the flower stitch will take a while, but I do want to get back into this, and I think it'll be really nice. The funny thing is, since, you know, in the whole time that I've been agonising over this, I've seen a lot of people bring out designs for this flower stitch, so now I hope that no one actually finishes a design very similar to this before I get around to finishing this one. But fingers crossed. So the yarn that I used for this was actually gifted to me by Hobbii. So it's their soft alpaca. Yeah, and it is 165 meters per 50 grams. So it's a bit of a thicker than 4-ply fingering. It's fairly chunky, and you can see it's got a really lovely like halo on it. Yeah, it's 100% alpaca. It's a lovely yarn. And it looks a bit, I think because I've been doing it back and forth, it looks a bit messy in the actual piece at the moment, but when you block it, it turns out really, really lovely, and it just really blooms out. So yeah, I'm knitting on a 3.5mm needle, and yeah, it's a lovely yarn, so thank you again to Hobbii for sponsoring the yarn for this design, and I'm sorry it's taken so long. But yeah, really nice. I believe this colour is colour number 14. I'm fairly certain it's called curry or mustard, something like that. So number 14. It's really nice. Okay, so it also doesn't have a name, this cardigan. So name suggestions for this one, welcome. Something to do with flowers, maybe. Yeah. And this one I'm also knitting on the short needles. Why do I do this? So anyway, we'll come to that later. Okay, so now we have a few larger project bags, and project bags I really, really like. So these project bags actually are made with naturally dyed fabric that I dyed with loads of plants and flowers, that many of which I like grew down the allotment. So here's a marigold, yeah, and I think somewhere there's also some onion skin there. Yeah, so they're really fun. And then the bottom here is like an avocado dye. Yeah, so I've had these for a while. I didn't sew these ones. These ones were sewn by Mrs. Robinson from Instagram. So I'd like shown, you know, videos of this fabric, and I was like, oh, I'm kind of too scared to sew with it myself, and she really kindly sewed these for me and sent me them, and they are really, really, really gorgeous. I just love them so much. Yeah, and they're nice and big as well. Could fit like a good amount of stuff in there. Anyway, so despite the fact it's really big, it contains a single ball of yarn. And this actually is very similar to the last one, because this is another yarn from Hobbii that they gifted to me to try out. And this is a bamboo, so 60% bamboo viscose and 40% cotton blend. Yeah, and it's called Rainbow Bamboo, and it is in this lovely colour number 20, which I think is also curry or mustard. Anyway, clearly I was into this colour, I don't know. So yeah, this is a really lovely yarn as well, and it's in this bag because I am going to do a swatch with it, and possibly knit one of my summer tops. So again, this is a 4-ply weight, and I'm thinking I might make a strawberry top, either the light with it held single, or holding 2 strands together to make a make the double knit version of the strawberry top. So yeah, gifted to me by Hobbii, and yes, really nice. And I like the idea of this. I think it'll have a really lovely drape and shine when it's knitted up, so that makes me want to hold it single. I think it might be nicer than holding it double. But yeah, stay tuned for that one. Next up is another project bag, very similar to the last one. Again, with the naturally dyed fabric and made by Mrs. Robinson, who has these super cute little wooden labels. Yeah, I love these bags. So, this contains another Hobbii yarn project. Turns out I've got quite a few of these on the needles at the moment. And again, they gifted this to me, and guess what colour it is? Honestly, I think I need to diversify my project slightly. It's like all yellow Hobbii yarn. Anyway, apparently I really like their yellow shades. So yeah, this is the Wool Power by Hobbii, and I was interested in this actually when they sent a call out for this, because this was in January, so this was for their like January No Shades of Grey challenge, which is basically to knit something a bit more colourful in the dark months, and I really like the idea of that, right? So I joined in with that, and I was kind of keen to try this out, the Wool Power, because I thought it might make a good substitute for the We Are Knitters petite wool. So this was before all of this stuff happened, but even then I was thinking, oh, it'd be good to, find some alternative options, because I think they just put their prices, and with Brexit and shipping and blah blah. So I was kind of in the market for trying out a few alternatives. So yeah, this is a Hobbii Wool Power. It's got a cute little sheep on it, yes, and it is 100 grams and it's 160 meters. So it's an Aran weight, it's single ply, it is 100% wool. They want you to use 5.5 to 6 millimeter needles, and yeah, it's different to the petite wool because it's not quite as smooth, it's a bit rougher. Has a bit more of a hairiness to it. I quite like it though anyway, and I think it knits up in a very similar way. It's maybe not quite as soft, but it's still pretty soft, so I mean I wouldn't call it scratchy. They have loads of colours, a lot more kind of bright colours, so their challenge was to use sort of lots of different colours, and I thought my idea had been for a while I wanted to make like a colour block sweater, because I seem to always make single coloured things. So I've been working on this, which I realise looks like a Belgian or German flag currently. This is actually purple at the top. And then here we've got like a dark burgundy red, and then the mustard, and now I was going to put the pink at the bottom. And then the same obviously on the sleeves. So yeah, just a super simple project. And I've got kind of like chunky raglan stitches, and a nice folded neckline, which is looking really nice. Got short rows, all that kind of stuff. So it's just a super simple kind of fun sweater. So I will be bringing out the pattern for this at some point. I'm not in a rush at all to finish it now, because it was obviously not the season for something this warm. But yeah, I think it'd be quite nice. I'm not sure if I'll keep it. I don't know if it's really my style. I kind of enjoy making it, but it's probably not. I don't know. We'll see when it's finished. Maybe I will like wearing it, but otherwise I might have to gift it. And I'm actually quite happy with how the colour changes turned out on this. So I used a method where you slip the first stitch of the round, and I made a reel of this on Instagram, so you can scroll back and find that. But I think the colour changes are quite smooth. You can see it's sort of there a little bit, but that will almost go away even more when I weave in the ends as well. So yeah, kind of cute, kind of fun, kind of looks like a flag. Oh well, yeah. But yeah, I'm excited about this colour. I quite like this one. So yeah, gifted to me by Hobbii as well. I promise that's the last one. I think the rest are kind of different yarns. So we'll see when I finish that, but I hope to have a pattern out for that by the end of the year. Okay, and so the last one in one of these handmade project bags is this one. This again was sewn by Miss Robinson, and is made out of some naturally dyed fabric. Yeah, so this project I've already talked about before on the podcast, and this is the Tourney slipover by Sophie, the Knit Pearl Girl. She already released this. I was meant to test knit it. I gave her feedback, I promise. I just didn't finish it because I messed up the gauge, etc. You've all heard the story. So I think I might have worked on it a bit more since the last video, I'm not sure. But I really like it. It's just it's ended up much too big. So I made size A, and somehow my gauge was still off after all that trying to make it work last time. And it's ended up more like size C, so almost 2 sizes bigger. And I think that would be fine because I quite like the oversized look, but because it's got a round neck, my worry is that the neck is going to be too big now that the gauge is off. I'm also worried that the fabric is too loose and open. But yeah, not sure. So it's kind of on hold until I decide what to do with it. Also because it ended up being quite a lot bigger. I didn't have enough yarn, and I've been using the We Are Knitters alpaca, the baby wool, I think. And I really didn't want to buy more of it. So yeah, slightly in limbo. But I really love the design, so I'm going to persevere. I'm either going to frog it and actually make size A, and then I'll have enough yarn, or see if I can get some more from someone destashing it or something, and do continue it in this size. I think I'm leaning towards the frogging and just making it properly, because then I'll like it more and I'll wear it more at the end as well. So yeah, that's what's going on with that one. So you can see a lot of the project bags are full of things which are kind of undecided, not sure what to do with them, but I think that's sort of probably normal for most people's forgotten project bags. Okay, finally, not project, well, I guess it's a bag, in this, the satin from Muud, and this was also gifted to me actually by Muud as part of a giveaway that I did recently. So yeah, I'm super grateful, because like I thought they would just send me one that I would then send on for the giveaway, but they sent me one for myself as well, so I was really surprised, and like yeah, it's gorgeous, because I was thinking I'll do it in the giveaway, and then if I like the bag I'll buy it. So yeah, I think I might have to buy something else, because their things are really lovely, and you know, I'm really grateful for them supporting me for the giveaway, so yeah, I feel like I want to actually buy something as well. I do have a few of their little accessories. Anyway, here's a bag. It's turned out that this is about like project bags, most of which you can't buy because I made them, but this one you can buy. Yeah, I really like it, it's super fun. It's got like this handle, it's got like zippy bits, it's got a little claspy bottom, and then you can thread the yarn through here, so you can stand it up and then knit out of it. It's got pockets, and then it's got like a storage zip pocket at the top, and pockets inside everywhere as well. Anyway, we were talking about the yarn, right? So inside I have got more Sunday Sunday in different colour. So I might have gone a bit overboard when I bought the Sunday, because I bought loads of it all in different colours, and I mean, I do actually mean loads of it, because I have here a bag which has I think it's not just Sundays, but it's got a lot in there, and the reason that this one is in the project bag is because I had recently made a swatch, which I think I showed you before, in this brown colour. And I want to make some kind of like little summer top sort of thing out of it. And I had some ideas, but now I've like second guessed myself, so anyway, it's in there just in case I feel like casting it on, and the swatch is in there as well. And then also in here is the mohair by Wool and Flower that I've shown you actually twice already, and the swatch that I made out of this. So yeah, this swatch is a single strand of the mohair, I think on a, hope I wrote it down, I think on a 3.75mm needle, and my idea is to make like a kind of sort of translucent, you can see that, shawl for my wedding in October. So yeah, I did kind of one side of the swatch in stockinette and the other in garter stitch, and the reason I haven't cast on yet is because I'm agonising over which side or which kind of design to use, either just the stockinette or the garter stitch, or if I should do something lacy, but then my dress is quite busy already, so I want something simple. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it comes up well enough on the video here for you guys to see it. I don't think it'll make actually much difference at the end. So maybe I should just do garter stitch because it'll be easier to knit. And it's going to be quite big. So I've got 300 grams of this to get through to make this shawl. So yeah, that's in there. So this bag I think just contains things that I should be making, I haven't. But it looks nice. And it fits really well in my bedroom, it looks kind of stylish. So yeah, I like it a lot. Okay, so that is everything in the project bags at the moment. And then I have, well, all of this bag of yarn that I want to kind of cast on for various different projects. So as I said already, it's got loads of the Sunday in it, it's got more for that top, it's got the brown one, and then I also got some in this kind of grey colour, apparently for another top. I don't know when I'm ever going to knit all these summer tops or wear all of these summer tops. Who knows? So maybe I'll make something else with it. Okay, but then something I have in here which I'm quite excited about is more of Sunday, but in like this lavendery, very pale lavender colour. And to go with it, more of the Filcolana Tilia, which so this is a yarn combination I used in the Sundial sweaters, the green one. And I really love the combination, really love the fabric. I really love this mohair, like a lot. It's so fluffy, it's really soft. I think it's pretty good value. Yeah, and the colours are really nice. So many as well. So I think it's actually one of my favourite mohairs. So yeah, I wanted to hold them together, possibly to actually make the summer version of the Sundial, like a short sleeve version. And then I realised it's going to be too hot in a merino and mohair held together. So I think my plan now is either to make some other sweater with the same yarn combination, but I think it's such like a summery spring colour that it doesn't really work for like a warm jumper. So I think I'm going to split them, which means yes, I'll end up with more balls of the Sunday, for which I don't have any plans. But almost I have so many in different colours that I could do like a colour, like a pastel-y colour work, scrappy type thing. I don't know if that sounds terrible, but it could be. But for this, I have plans. I have big plans. I'm going to hold it double, and I'm going to make a pure like mohair top. So I'm sure you've all seen the gorgeous souffle top by Laura Penrose Knits, and part of me maybe wants to make that in this. But I also have my own idea for like a mohair only top that I've had for a while, I just haven't. I mean, this is the story of my life. Apparently I have all these ideas, just don't do them. But this one I might actually do. So, because I think it would be gorgeous in this yarn. So anyway, her top kind of inspired me to try and do something with just mohair because it just looks so gorgeous. I think maybe I do want to make her top at some point. I'll have to add it to the list. But yeah, it sort of inspired me to take the plunge with a mohair only top. So I have this, but I actually did buy another mohair, which was the Crea Deluxe, the one with a bit of alpaca in. Because I was influenced by Sophie's mohair video where she reviewed them all and she said that one was really nice, so there we go, I'll go and buy more. So, you owe me. But anyway, that they have it is actually gorgeous in mohair, but they don't have a lot of like zesty colours. They're all a bit more like warm and tonal. So I bought like a lovely pinkish blush colour. I don't know where it is right now, but I'll show you another time. So I was going to make this top idea I had in that, but then I thought I wanted something, for my idea to work, I wanted something a bit more zesty. So that's where I think this is going to work really well. So yeah, stay tuned. It's going to have a bit of like lace bits in it. I really hope it turns out how it does in my mind. But as soon as I finish a summer Sundial top, I'm going to swatch this and get started on that so that it will be out before the end of the summer. But to be honest, a double mohair strand top, it will probably still be wearable like in the winter as well as a top, like with something else over the, like on top of it, a cardigan or something. And maybe out of that other pinky one that I bought, I could make a souffle top. Interesting. So many possibilities. Anyway, so that's what I have in there. And then I have another one of these massive bags of yarn. And this is all, as you can see, for one project. And this is just good old drops. So you can't go wrong with a bit of drops, right? So this is drops kid silk and drops Lima. And I'm going to hold these together, and I want to make the Petite Knits zipper sweater. Finally, out of many years after everyone else made it, but just looks really comfy. Just something to wear around the house. And yeah, now I'm holding this compared to what I was just had here. Like, this just confirms to me how much I am in love with the Filca Lana. So soft. Like, it's gorgeous. Okay, it's probably, I think it's probably more than double the price of the drops. So, probably quite expensive for a big project. But for something like a top, it might be sort of more worth it. But yeah, so I went for the cheap and cheerful drops for the zipper sweater. Because yeah, it doesn't always have to be like super luxury, right? But the Lima is really nice actually. It's a wool and alpaca blend, and the kid silk is just your standard sort of kid silk. It's great value. It's really fluffy. Yeah, I mean you can't complain really. So yeah, I think that would be quite nice. I will swatch out at some point. I'm not really in a super rush to make this. This is just something I want to cast on. I want to learn a bit about the techniques used in that construction, and I also just really like it. It looks very comfy, and I kind of want one. And that's what you do when you knit, right? You make the stuff that you kind of want, and it takes some time. But that's why we do it. So yeah. Anyway, don't know what I'm talking about. Apparently, I am overwhelmed with yarn. I think every time I do one of these podcast videos, I just like look around and I think, wow, have you got a problem? I've got a bit of a problem with like yarn and so many projects. Yeah, so I did actually do quite a big de-stash last weekend, which made me feel a lot better. But I could probably go further and de-stash even more. I don't know. I do really like a lot of the yarn I have though, and I'm trying to ban myself from buying anything and just using what I have. I'm really trying. But then I bought that mohair, but that's all I bought for now. in like a month. So I've got enough. So instead of buying yarn to obviously still buy stuff for some reason, I have been doing a little bit of accessory shopping. So until this week, I basically only had one of each needle. So one long, one short of the Knit Pro Symphony interchangeable needles. Loads of cables because, you know, a lot of projects. But only one of each needle, and then like a handful of other, one or two other fixed needles. I had some like lace ones, pointy tip ones. But yeah, I've been pretty good because I kept being tempted, you know, by the pink likey needles, but I have resisted because I thought if I have more needles, I'm just going to have more projects. And so I stopped myself from doing that. I am tempted to buy some metal needles. People say they can be really great, but I'm a bit sceptical because I get very cold fingers, although that apparently isn't a problem, so we'll see. So anyway, I had basically lost my long 3mm needles. No idea where they are, or I lent them to someone, something, I don't know, but they're gone. So I bought myself a new pair of long Knit Pro interchangeable needles, so just as a replacement. But then I thought, the 3mm needles are always where they're like stuck on projects for a really long time, and I think it's because obviously they take longer, those projects. So I thought, okay, I want to try a few different types of needles rather than just buying another set of wooden needles that are pink instead of like colourful just because they're pink. I would instead try out a few different types of needles and see how I like them, and then maybe buy another interchangeable set but metal ones or something else to see, you know, maybe they're more comfortable or more appropriate for different types of yarn. So I thought I'd buy them all in a 3mm size, which now I'm looking at it, seems like it wasn't a good idea. But I think I was so frustrated that I never had any 3mm needles that I just bought loads. So, I don't know, not always fashionable. So I bought myself, also from Knit Pro, the carbons, and these are carbon fibre, or they're described as high-tech carbon fibre needles with gleaming brass tips. Fancy. So they are actually a little bit more expensive, really, than the other needles. You know, they've got to make them sound good. And I have one pair of these, a long fixed. I think it's 2.25, because you know when you get down to that thin, wooden needles they just snap or they're too bendy. So I thought I'd try them out, and I actually really like them for sock knitting because they feel quite warm, they're super lightweight, and they're quite strong. So I thought I would try out some of their interchangeable version of this in the 3. So I got the long and the short tips. And the reason I bought both as well is because I thought, I've heard from a lot of people that then their gauge changes on different types of needles. So I didn't want the case that if I had done the body on the long wooden ones, that then I would switch to short sleeve tips in the carbons and they'd be a completely different gauge. So I just thought I'd buy the pair of them. So yeah, I'm excited to see if I like those. And then I thought I'll give the metal needles a try as well. So I just bought also from Knit Pro a pair of metal fixed 3mm needles. They were pretty cheap, like £3 or something, so I just thought I'd try it out. They feel cold, so I don't know if I trust this. So we'll see. You never know if I like them or not. And I don't know why I bought the fixed ones, I just thought sometimes they're quite useful to have. So we'll see how that goes. So I got all of these from Woolstack online. I think also the reason I bought so many is because I wanted the free shipping. And I think they only stock Knit Pro, but they stock like all of the Knit Pro needles, which are really good. And they also have, I really like the Ginger, Knit Pro Ginger, and they have those short tips up to quite big sizes. So I think like they have a 9mm or 8mm short needle in the Ginger, which is really handy. which I couldn't find actually in a lot of places, so that's pretty cool. Okay, and then the last thing I have to show you was another little indulgence, and this is a yarn swift, the Likey yarn swift, a wooden one, and I was so badly nipfluenced when Sophie showed this on her stories, because I have been thinking of getting one of these getting a wooden swift for ages. So I have, one of those horrible plastic ones, which actually is right here, so I'll show you. So annoying. Horrible plastic. It's got all these like horrible metal things on it. This end bit always just falls apart. The yarn gets stuck in it. Makes a lot of rattling noise. Yeah, and then it's just... I mean, it does the job, but like... There you go. No, it does the job, but it's kind of annoying. And you see these bits here, the yarn kind of gets stuck in them, and then you have to undo it, and blah blah blah. So yeah, it's also not big enough for some hanks. So sometimes if you get really long hanks, it doesn't actually fit. So that's really annoying. So anyway, for ages I've been wanting a new one, a wooden one, to replace that. But online they all looked kind of flimsy to me. I was like, well, I don't want a flimsy wooden one that's just going to like squeak and break and be kind of not very good. So that's why I was so heavily nipfluenced, because when Sophie posted on her stories this Likey one, I don't know how to pronounce it, I was like, wow, it actually looks really good. And it didn't look like really cheap thin flimsy wood. It looked like quite big, and you can see it is huge, right? And look how it's really sturdy, and it has kind of all the bits of wooden. So it has this kind of like peg at the bottom where it goes on the table or whatever it is you attach it to, and then it has another one here I'm going to hit myself in the face, to open the swift up. And I think you can already appreciate maybe that this is much bigger than the other one, and it spins really nice and smooth. The top, the kind of pieces of the swift are held together by kind of a ropey string. I guess that could possibly break at some point, but I guess the good thing is it's probably very easy to fix, especially for knitters who have yarn and string coming out of their eyeballs, right? Yeah, so pretty satisfying, and it also goes up to be much, much bigger than the other one. So I think this will be good for some of the really big hanks that you sometimes get, especially apparently from smaller producers. I don't know why that is. So it's made out of mango wood, and it has a really kind of thick glaze on it. You can see that in the sun, how shiny it is. So that was one of the things I was worried about actually when I was thinking about buying one before, was that it would be that kind of cheap softwood that's not properly varnished, and that it would kind of scratch and just not be very good. So I'm really pleased that it's got this thick, proper thick varnish on it. So I really hope this is going to last for many, many years. So yeah, pretty happy with this. And also I think it's quite a bonus that it comes with this nice drawstring bag, so you can kind of keep it all nice and safe. So yeah, well and truly nipfluenced, but that's fine because I really like it. I've actually yet to wind any yarn with it. I'm gonna have to find somewhere that's big enough to put this. I think it will fit around my desk. Should do, but it's so nice. It's almost like you want to have it out all the time. It's like an art piece. But I am trying to be a more tidy person, so I won't be doing that. Yeah, that's that. And I bought this from Knit Yarns as well, same place that I got the Sunday from, and the Filcolana Tilia. She has a really great selection. She's probably out of stock of these now because everyone was probably nipfluenced. But hopefully she will get those back in stock soon enough. They also have like a dark version as well, which I actually wanted more than this one, but it wasn't in stock, so I just went for this one, which I think is pretty nice as well. So yeah, that's it from me. Thank you so much for making it all the way through to the end of the video, and for joining me in just having a little chat about what I'm up to. Yeah, so hopefully in my next video I will have some updates on all of these things, and possibly, or I hope, I'll be wearing the Sundial top, and I also hope it'll be warm enough to be wearing it. We're having some quite nice sunny days. It's almost Easter, so fingers crossed. Yeah, and if you're wondering what I'm wearing today, this is a Cumulonimbus sweater, and this is knit in the Camarose Snifnog, which is a really gorgeous like blown yarn of merino and alpaca, I think. Anyway, it's gorgeous, and it's got like a big V-neck, and I really like wearing it with like jewellery and stuff. I always feel like it's a bit fancier, and it also has a split hem as well, and yeah, I really enjoy wearing this one just to be really cosy. It's like incredible, this yarn. It's one of my favourites, so I'll put a link to that. So anyway, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.